Hey everybody, welcome to another fabulous episode of the Suzette Speaks Show. It's been a minute, y'all. Been taking some time to gotta figure out what I want to talk about and some other things going on in my real life. But I'm here now and I'm excited to have each and every one of you here with me. Thank you to all of you who are supporting me on my Patreon community. I have some behind the scenes footage I'll be sharing with you later in the week. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, I am Suzette Speaks. Yes, I do a YouTube channel and I really enjoy coming to you a couple times a week and talking about today's hot topics, what's going on in social media, and especially like days like today, there we go, days like today, where I can talk about a little bit of politics and what's happening around the state of Florida. I just got off a fantastic live stream on the Roland Martin channel, by the way, where I am live every Wednesday from 3 to 5 p.m. on a show called The Culture with Faraji Muhammad. And we were just talking about this topic, and I was like, I have to come over to my peoples, first of all, and say hello and let them know what's going on and where my mind is when it comes to what's happening with a new lawsuit, y'all. Yes, Florida stays in the news, and we are always going to be, I guess, in the center of the political universe when it comes to, trends. And one of the trends that are happening right now is limiting what is being taught in schools when it comes to race and history and even ethnicity, sometimes gender related. And I want to talk to you about what you see here on the screen. We have a new lawsuit that was just filed by attorney Ben Crump against the state of Florida and Ron DeSantis and our Florida Department of Education as it relates to an AP studies class that is a high school class usually taken by juniors and seniors in high school on the subject of African American history. It was rejected by the state of Florida and said to lack educational value. And today we had a press conference, which I was so excited. I was watching it on Mr. Ben Crump's, attorney Ben Crump's IG Live as it was happening. But he, as well as two other attorneys, have decided to combine forces to sue Ron DeSantis and the state Department of Education for preventing students from being able to take AP African American history. Now, my question to you tonight is, should high school students in the state of Florida be allowed to take AP African American history? Do you think it infringes upon their rights to prevent them from taking said class? And again, we have a complicated legal landscape in Florida because we have a law that's on the books in the state of Florida called the Stop Woke Act, right? So that act was passed in 2021 and it allowed for schools, or prevents schools from being able to teach certain types of curriculum. One being anything that makes people from a certain racial background feel uncomfortable about transgressions of that similar ethnicity or race in the past. And many of our high schools, even a friend of mine who teaches high school history, he's like, oh no, I don't have any classes that pertain to African American history anymore. I can't teach it because of this act. It has become a deterrent for some. Others say it's a violation of a student's rights. So I want to know what you have to think. I have to say on this topic, I just got off of the Roland Martin channel talking about this with Faraji Muhammad. Again, he and I do a 1-2 combo every Wednesday. And there's so much I can say about this, but I have a limited amount of time. Let me say hello to my people. I've missed many of you guys. And again, I appreciate you watching. Hey, Miss AKA Lady. Faraji's in the building. Good evening to you. This will be a kind of quickie, but I wanted to bring it up because, again, this is an issue that I think is trying to, what should I say, take hold and even possibly spread across our country when it comes to what type of education, and really it's not even the type of education, it's the type of facts that are allowed to be discussed in classes. And as you know, within Florida, hey, how are you, Andrew? Good to see you, brother. Glad you're here. I appreciate Faraji. We just had a dope show. You are dope. We just had an amazing show, folks. Go over to my community tab and look at the today's show. We talked about round robin of topics. So much going on from that young 6-year-old that unfortunately pulled the trigger when it came to his teacher, and now she's suing. to what's going on in small town America. Very interesting conversation with a mayor of a small village right outside of Chicago to talking about today's issue, which is why Ben Crump and others have decided to file this lawsuit and why it's important so that we are trying to protect the educational integrity of what can be taught in the Florida state public school system. Now, if you're watching, hey, yes, it's Wednesday. Go ahead and team replay it. It's all good. No worries, Miss AKA Lady. Glad you are here. Good to see you, Doug. Thank you so much. Doug was also very active on that show that I just did over there on Roland Martin's channel. Y'all look up Roland Martin on YouTube. You guys can see the live I did again. The show is called The Culture, and it comes on every day from 3 to 5. And I am the main contributor when it comes to Wednesday's show with Raji Muhammad. So I'm so excited to have him here. Again, leave your comments in the chat. What do you think should be done? Do you think a lawsuit is enough? Do you think there should be more public outcry when it comes to the governor blocking the African American AP Studies class? And what do you think about the lawsuit that was just proposed, not filed just yet, but proposed by Attorney Ben Crump? Now, guys, if you are into politics like me, you must have at least seen Attorney Ben Crump. He has made his name as a civil rights attorney, always in the forefront, in the limelight when it comes to, I don't even call it limelight. It's because he has to be in the limelight to use his platform to highlight other people's unfortunate circumstances when it comes to people who have lost their lives, when it comes to police brutality and other things. He's oftentimes called upon to be a spokesperson and oftentimes will even represent the families of people who have been victimized in just a variety of circumstances, but mostly we've seen him when it comes to cases involving police brutality. But today, Attorney Crump is turning over a different leaf, and he is a part of a coalition seeking to make Ron DeSantis, governor of Florida, answer for, and his Department of Education answer for why they are blocking students from taking AP African American Studies. Now, again, Florida is a little bit different because we have a law called the Stop Woke Act, and woke is an acronym. It is, again, intended to keep students from feeling guilt for, again, the histories that are quite uncomfortable sometimes when we talk about American history. But again, in the press conference today, we saw Attorney Crump re-emphasize, as he often does, that Black history is not separate. Black history is, in fact, American history. It's a part of the American story. But what stood out to me today, guys, and I want you to go ahead and Google this press conference if you didn't see it live. It was very moving, and they're very, what should I say, brave individuals that have stepped forward to be the plaintiffs in the case. The people have to have the grounds for which to sue the governor because they are being directly affected by the lack of ability to take this course. And the only people that can do that are actual students. So we have students who have stepped forward, 3 to be exact. One happens to be a white female. 2 others, I'm assuming, guys, I'm sorry, from her look. I don't want to gender categorize her, but from what I see. And an African-American boy who is a 10th grader named Mr. Elijah Edwards, and Juliet Heckman, who I'm speaking of, is an 11th grader from out of Tallahassee, along with another 11th grader named Victoria McQueen out of Tallahassee. And they stepped forward today during today's press conference in order to make their voices heard. And they will go down in history like some of the other young people who fought for, civil rights advancements. It's a huge deal, guys, because if this lawsuit is successful, now it will take time. That's the only thing with the wheels of justice. They definitely turn slowly because lawsuits have to have preliminary hearings, and they have to set dates because they have to get ready for the hearing. Judge, we need 6 months to prepare for this trial or for this case, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't expect any type of resolution, maybe even this year. But the point is, it needed to happen because if we didn't see some type of pushback to the Stop Woke Act, and again, this is not the first lawsuit that has been filed against the state of Florida and against Governor DeSantis on behalf of students and teachers. But we need some type of definitive court ruling to say it's either illegal under our Constitution and our amendments, or it's not. So what this is trying to do is to force the hand of Governor DeSantis to go back and talk to the College Board. Those are the folks that design AP courses, and try to set a curriculum that meets, the rigor, right? The intellectual challenge that an AP student, which is supposed to be advanced placement, a higher level of study, a student is supposed to meet. So will Governor Ron DeSantis turn over a new leaf and go back to the College Board and say, wait a minute, you can redesign the class, but you have to take out these topics? Or will the AP African American Studies course in Florida be dead on arrival as it is now? I want to hear your opinion. I want to know, what do you think is going to happen? And do you think, again, with the Stop Woke Act being the law of the land in Florida, is Governor DeSantis doing the quote unquote right thing, following the law? Or is this a way to try to censor what can be taught to students and what teachers and professors can, can directly say in terms of what has actually really occurred in history? Is this a rewriting of history? Is this what some would deem an attempt to erase African American history from curriculum throughout the state of Florida? Is this step one? And do you think Attorney Ben Crump will ultimately be successful? I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to get out of here. Let me see who we got here. Hey, Miss, I already said hi to Miss AKA Lady. I said hi to Doug. Thank you for being here. I see a super chat. Thank you, Brown Gal Peace Lounge, for being here. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. And I'm going to read a few of your comments. And if you're watching Team Replay, don't forget to hit the like button and leave your comments right after the show. Again, we're talking about whether high school students should be able to take AP African American history, or should this curriculum be removed from across the state of Florida per the Stop Woke Act? Should that act be challenged as it is now in court, or will this new lawsuit, this new attempt that will be filed if Attorney Crump says, if Governor DeSantis does not try to resolve the issues with the College Board, he's prepared, along with these three young people, to go against the Department of Education, the Florida Department of Education's ruling to take out the option and reject the course as a whole from being a part of the AP curriculum across the state of Florida. Hit the like button as you come in. I want to welcome all my new subs. Glad to have you. Again, I am just shouting out a key issue. I just had a wonderful conversation with my brother Faraji Muhammad on the Roland Martin Network on a show called The Culture. We brought this up, and I just wanted to deep dive just a little bit more as you guys come in. Hi, good afternoon, TMK. Good to have you. And thank you for the super chat I was just about to read. Thank you. Shout out to Andrew. Says some lunch money y'all can support. The chat is open. The super chat is open. He says, keep up the great work. Thank you, my darling. I am so happy to see all of you here, and I want to welcome anyone who is watching for the first time. Shout out to you. But this is a very I wouldn't say complex lawsuit. I think there are going to be First Amendment arguments that are made about the freedom of speech that is preventing this law from hopefully going to stand the test of time. But we're going to see, because again, Governor DeSantis' legal team and the Florida Department of Education, I think, are going to challenge it based on the fact that the legislature has passed the Stop Woke Act. But we want to know, is the Stop Woke Act unconstitutional to begin with? That's the main argument. Does that law violate the First Amendment, the 14th Amendment, and others in the Constitution in terms of equal protection under the law? Are students of a certain background being treated differently? Are they not able to get the same education across the board, or is their history being treated differently or disparately? Is the term that you will hear in legal circles. but there are so many parts of the story that are going to unfold. We are going to revisit this, folks. I just want to put it out there because it's hot in the headlines. But you should go watch the press conference that Attorney Ben Crump did today. A lot of folks who I know and my colleagues were on the platform. Shout out to Senator Chevron Jones. Shout out to, that's why I got to go, y'all. I'm going to have to hydrate and jump on off here. But because I've been talking for 2 hours over on the Roland Martin show, but it has been a fantastic discussion. And I want to hear what you have to say. Doug, I see you on the super chat. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you being over on Faraji's show, The Culture, with us earlier today. I appreciate you bringing your thoughts here. Thank you again. And he says, appreciate you, Doug says, yes, I have to do my due diligence. He sent me a clip, thank you, Doug, through Instagram about Ron DeSantis's purported or supposed reasons for not supporting AP African American history. I didn't have time to type you a long answer, Doug, but I got your point. What the governor said at the mic during a press conference recently was that he was opposed to, and I'm summarizing, the queer community, components of the curriculum. And Doug, thank you for your super chat. Always appreciate you, brother. He says, yes, I have to do my due diligence. I still believe if gender studies is removed, then it will remove the main issue of the course. And again, Doug, I know we're playing inside baseball. That's why I was trying to explain to everybody what your point was, that the governor in a press conference said that it was because there was these gender studies and queer community components of the curriculum that were overshadowing the African-American components in terms of the history. I'm of the thought, again, there is an overlap because many in the struggle happen to also have been queer. And as we know it today, they weren't out. They weren't part of their stories when things were happening back then. But now we have the ability to acknowledge and recognize and speak about their contributions in a thoughtful way as a part of the larger history of African Americans. I want to point out that there were other components, and I'm getting this, guys. I'm following State Senator Chevron Jones. He's out of Miami here, one of my colleagues down here. Chevron, Shevrin, has he has a meme that you guys can see, and if I had time, I would have pulled it up, but I got to go, y'all. I won't be out here much longer. But there are concerns that were submitted by the governor, or should I say his Department of Education, with the College Board's African American Studies course that are outside of this particular issue, which is the queer community components / gender studies components. There are problems that they list with the movement, a topic called the Movement for Black Lives. They have issues with a topic for the class called Black Feminist Literary Thought. Even just putting in one of their objections to that particular portion, Black Feminist Literary Thought, they had a problem with Bell Hooks and that reading of her book, saying the author of many intersectionality texts and in recommended reading states, quote, and this is a quote from Bell Hooks, that he had a problem with, or the department says they had a problem with. I began to use the phrase in my work, white supremacy or white supremacist, according to what they said they had an objection to. This is quoting of Bell Hooks, saying that her words, white supremacist, capitalist patriarchy, because I wanted to have some language that would fully acknowledge and remind us continually of the interlocking systems of domination that define our reality. Now that's coming from Bell Hooks, and the State Department of Education is saying this is our problem. We don't want a person that states things like this to be included in the course. Other objections were to the movement against reparations, which is a topic that the College Board proposed, and saying that all the viewpoints in the course, according to the Department of Ed, were for reparations, and they said there was not enough counter or balancing opinion in the lesson. And they're also countering why Black study and the Black struggle in the 21st century as a topic had issues, and the list goes on and on. Check it out, guys. I'm literally reading from Chev Jones's Insta, and you can see there it was a list of each topic and then why the Florida Department of Education says they object to it. So we're going to do our diligence. We are going to definitely stay on top of this and see where this lawsuit, if filed, goes, and to see where Governor DeSantis stands. Is he going to respond? Is he going to sit down with the college board finally and say, guess what? This is our problem, and here's how you can fix it. It's AKA Lady. Thank you. Says, my daughter's Florida school is still teaching the Pilgrims, and Columbus had a peaceful relationship, sis. I reached out to the school about it and got nowhere. Yikes. I don't trust Florida curriculum. Listen, we got to do a lot of this stuff at home, which has been the practice. And one of the plaintiffs, or the plaintiffs that will be ready to file, is Miss Victoria McQueen. And listen to this young lady. She is an 11th grader from Leon High School in Tallahassee. When she gave her reasons for being a part of this lawsuit during today's press conference, it was so moving because you could hear the 17-year-old speak for herself and justifiably come up with reasons as to why she thinks this type of curriculum is important and she should be allowed to pursue her study of African-American history, just like European history, just like any other course offered by the College Board. Final comments, y'all. If you're watching Team Replay, hit the like button. Andrew says there should not be a law preventing the teaching of education. 100%. Isn't it a conflict in preventing us from teaching about the truth? How is this legal to admit Black history? Well, it all goes back to the Stop Woke Act. Thank God, and I believe in them. The courts are here, hopefully, to be fair and impartial arbiters of the law. There have been several lawsuits, and this will just be one of many that have been filed against the Stop Woke Act, right? To say it is actually unconstitutional. So it is hanging around for now, but it takes time again for these type of cases to be filed and work their way through the legal system. So we're going to see what happens, folks. Yes, Doug says, Sue, listen, still should be a separate study. Any type of gender studies, that I see you. And I did think I saw Andrew's super chat. Thank you so much, Doug. Just want to make sure I read it. Yes, I did. I read it earlier. Thank you. I appreciate both of you. And thank you, Andrew, for sponsoring today's stream. So if you have an opinion on what should or should not happen with the AP Studies course on African American history in the state of Florida, and or if you have an opinion about today's press conference and what Attorney Ben Crump plans to do if Governor DeSantis does not sit down with the College Board and try to come up with some sort of a plan where they can work out their differences so that the course is offered, we will see what happens next. I appreciate you guys watching. Please stay tuned for more Suzette Speaks, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Please be sure to subscribe and hit the like button on your way out. I'll see you guys real soon. Take care, and I appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.